Hello everyone, and welcome back to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. We're an all-queer cast Numenera podcast. I'm Kenny, the cast member who plays the lovable and simple lad Hillian. If you love our show, we hope you'll rate us and review us on iTunes or wherever you consume your podcasts. Every review makes Kelric, the GM and producer's eyes, sparkle, and helps new listeners to find us. We don't pay to advertise any of the podcasts on the Experience Points network, so we hope you'll recommend us to your friends and just about anyone. Did you know that we had a Patreon? We are grateful to everyone who's already become a patron. You keep our mics on and our dice rolling. We've got some great rewards, so check them out at patreon.com/experiencepoints.
Good morning for us, and welcome to the latest edition of Experience Points Qmenera. I'm Kelric, your GM. Just straight up GM, no more garbage. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm joined by my fabulous cast.
Hi, I'm Jess. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Tiyune, a mechanical nano who rides the lightning.
Hello, I am Aaron. My pronouns are they, them, and I play Railu, a graceful glaive who speaks with a silver tongue, and today with extra garbage, just to make up for it.
Hi, my name is Kenny. My pronouns are he, they, and I play Hillian Jossa, an earnest Jack who howls at the moon.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, everyone. It has been a very long time, it seems, since we got together, and I think because of that, it has been requested that I do the recap today. So I will do the recap of what happened last week for everyone else, 2 weeks ago for everyone else.
Thank you so much.
Yes, no problem. All right, so last week you all were inside the City of Steel. Inside the City of Steel, you had a whole bunch of conversations going back and forth on whether you're going to talk to Daksym's parents, sneak into the city or the village, or just not make sure that Edalale got the device by themselves. Blew up the City of Steel as you made a dramatic escape. I'm picturing it as you fly out. No, you had gotten out and you had set like a timer of some sort or a remote detonation thing. You were outside the tree entrance, the hollow tree, and then there was a big explosion of fire. I think Railu took some damage from it, if I recall, but everyone else got away okay. Lots of noise. You picture ourselves up. You were looking around. And I don't remember which of you, but one of you found a symbol drawn in the ground heading towards the city of Ephraimon. Ephraimon is what it was. And the strange thing about this symbol was that in the direct center of it was a battery that I believe Tiyune picked up. I think you all just picked it up and didn't bother really looking at it. You were able to determine that the symbol was the symbol of a secret society called the Convergence. I don't recall if anyone had anything other than knowledge of what they were. I believe I've shared all that with you, so you can move forward. And you were heading towards the village because you assumed that with the explosion, they'd be heading towards you. And you wanted to head them off at the pass so they wouldn't try and explore the blown up tree. As you were going, you weren't being super stealthy, and you heard some crashing in the forest behind you, and I'd given you 4 turns to figure out what you were going to do. So, action.
All right, so run, and then Railu just looks at Hillian and Tiyune.
Run which way though? Because we could be leading a Draskar right back to the city.
That sounds like that problem, and then Railu's gonna run. We're gonna start off strong, why not?
Oh, Railu, how I've missed you.
I didn't even want to go back to town, all right? If they get a Draskar, that sounds like a personal problem. They got 4 arms, they could deal with it.
They only have 3?
Well, fine. Less likely to deal with the Draskar, but...
Hillian looks at Tiyune. I'm not sure what we do here.
Well, for now we better run too, because the noise that they're causing by running is just going to cause further attention by the Draskar. So we can't stay here now. Don't mention the Numenera that we found when we get to town. Let's deal with the Juraskar first, and just don't mention the Numenera at all.
Okay, no Numenera. Got it.
And yeah, Tiyune, I guess we'll also run toward the town.
Come on, Jacques, let's go.
Okay. Going to attempt to outrun a Juraskar.
Apparently.
Well, I mean, we don't know it's a Juraskar. We're assuming it's one.
That's very fair. Does anyone know what you remember about Juraskar? Anything, Bueller?
Don't fight them?
Kill us immediately?
Yeah.
I do believe that was something that was said, was that they are super dangerous and they could pretty much hurt you.
Also pretty sure that it was a, hey, you can't outrun them thing. But in this situation, after the tree exploding, it's like, well, what are we going to do? It knows where we're at. So that was my solution.
Well, and at this point, Tiyune is just hoping that since there are people from the town potentially being drawn into the forest to investigate the sound, they might meet up with us before the Juraskar gets to us, and they could at least help. Because hopefully these people who live so close to a forest filled with Juraskar have some sort of plan to deal with them.
If we poke it with the Numenera, go ahead.
No, exactly. I think that, they may have a plan.
If we poke it with the Numenera device, then we'll all just turn into Juraskar. It'll be way more exciting.
Well, that is a different adventure than I had planned, so... Okay. Sure.
Now we all get to be sentient Juraskar.
Okay. Yeah, let's start off with a perception check that, since you're running kind of like deer before a wolf, let's make it a challenging one. So go ahead and roll for that. It's a difficulty level 5. Let's see what happens.
Just so we're clear, whatever happens, Tiyune will blame Railu, in case that wasn't clear.
Okay, but that's like always. That it wouldn't have changed if I hadn't done anything.
Wow.
Nice.
Very.
Wow. I did not expect a 20.
My one good roll ever of all time.
A 20, a 19, and a 7, the 7 being Railu's. I am most impressed. The two of you who rolled really high with the natural 20 going to Tiyune, you recognize it is indeed a Juraskar running. It does not appear to be chasing you, though. It appears to be just running in your direction at this point. Like, I don't know that it's... I wouldn't say that based on your perception that it's actually paying any attention to you, that it seems to be afraid of something itself. Perhaps there is a chance that you could hide.
Can we tell if the Juraskar is running in the same direction as us currently?
It's sort of running at an angle to you. So it's heading towards you, but at an angle to where it'll cut the path somewhere around you, but not sure if it's in front or behind you. It's a lot of crashing. It is coming from behind, so who knows how close it's going to actually get. But
with that perception, am I able to tell the direction it's coming from enough that I can just change our course so that our paths won't intersect?
So that they will intersect? Sure.
So that they will not intersect. No.
I'm like, if that's what you want, sure, you can make that happen.
I said won't intersect.
Yeah, between you and Hillian, you can either do that or you can actually find a hiding place so that it passes you by. I mean...
If my perception right now is that this Juraskar is running from something else, I would like to change our course and not wait for the thing that the Juraskar is running from to come toward us.
Sure. You are
to at least get farther away before we try to hide.
Absolutely. You can totally do that. You find a place to hide. I think the place to hide is, close enough that you actually get to see the mighty Juraskar as it flees, and there are 2 of them that are running, because that seems to be the way Juraskar work, is that there's usually 2, if not 3. And why don't y'all give me just a quick int roll, and let's see what we learn. Oh, that's close. 2 nat 20s, huh? All right. Well, Tiyune knows all the things about Juraskar. Tiyune is on point. Juraskar, please. She has that down. Basically, you can tell when you see the 2 of them just running, not looking anywhere other than straight ahead, just like terrified deer. you're able to put two and two together that the whole reason that they're running in this direction is because it is away from that fucking blown up tree. That explosion just spooked them, and it seems like you can expect a lot more movement in these woods for a little while. So you all can just keep running to get out. You can find the shortest way and go. You can, you can hold up. If you want to wait up a little bit and see what happens, you can. But it's all up to y'all. But you definitely are quite well aware that the animals in this forest are spooked, and you don't know what besides Juraskar live here. So Juraskar are the big predators. Do
I have any sense of if they're running because they were scared of the initial explosion, or does it seem like something happened after the explosion that we missed that they're running from?
It just seems, I don't know. I don't think that there's anything else to really tell you other than they're spooked and running. And it may be that they're running. They're just like any panicked animals where they're just running and changing directions, and you just don't know where they're going because they just don't know what happened.
Okay.
Juraskar are not super smart.
Gotcha. Well, I was trying to figure out if it was just that initial explosion that scared them off, or if it seemed like that initial explosion set off a chain of something else that we were not aware of, and that now we have to be worried about that as well.
Oh, that might be a thing, but the Juraskar are not telling you that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, once they pass, Tiyune will sort of relay that information and say, we need to figure out a way that we can get out of this forest without drawing attention of any other escaping animals, because the Juraskar are running scared right now, but if they see us, they might turn and attack.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to be a lot quieter than we have been. What I really want to know is, why do they have to travel in packs? That's worse.
I don't know. Why don't you go ask them?
We're kind of traveling in a pack. I mean, if you think about it.
I have a lot less teeth, though. I'm just saying. And then Railu will dust themselves off indignantly and start quietly continuing down the trail where we would have known to head out.
Yeah, I guess we'll keep heading back towards the town, but maybe more quietly and trying to pay close attention to our surroundings so that we can be aware if there are other animals heading toward us.
Cool. So why don't you give me 2 separate speed rolls to see if you make it through stealthily and if there's any sort of interaction. Don't roll ones. Well, Tiyune made it with a 5 and an 8. Hillian made it with a 4 and a 15. Yeah, and a 13 and 13. So Hillian, Railu, everyone made it through. All you had to do was not roll a 1. You did just fine. With the lower rolls, you saw a few prey animals running through. Nothing to really worry you at all. Nothing happened really. You get to the edge of Badanu Forest, and you don't see anyone coming towards you. You do see a couple of the kids getting really close to the village, like they heard the explosion and everyone just came running home. You have that going on. I'm trying to remember what time it was when y'all got out of the tree. I think it was around dusk.
That sounds about right.
We're going to say it's dusk. Sure. It is nighttime, heading into it. So we'll just go with that and say, what are you doing?
So I think before we crest the actual tree line, we all step off to the side. All right, so we should set up camp here and wait till nightfall. We need to make sure no one sees us coming into town while we talk to Daksym's parents.
I actually thought of a different plan. The whole reason the Eon Priest sent us here was to get this town to trust the Eon Priests. And everything that's happening is a big decision. And as much as I want it to be in the hands of these townspeople, we can't trust Adalale. And I think what we should do is be as honest as we can be, by which I mean say that we didn't find anything that we think would help, because that's sort of true. But we found some information that we're going to take it back to the Eon Priests, and that they need to contact the Eon Priests directly to get a solution.
That sounds like a good plan. I don't know how Adalale will handle it, but of course, he's the one that I'm least concerned about. He may be...
Well, if Adalale doesn't handle it well, not to point fingers, it'll be because you promised a solution.
I never promised anything.
You said a lot of words, and a lot of them had some implied meaning.
What they take from things is completely different. I said that we would try to help. I said that we would do our best, and we have done our best. Though, and Railu pointedly looks at Tiyune and goes, if we're talking about falsehoods, what do you plan to do about that? And if I remember correctly, the Numenera is a pretty big piece, like it wouldn't fit in a backpack. So Railu will just point to the Numenera piece sticking out of your backpack.
Yeah, it's about a yard long at this point with all the attachments.
I mean, I can say that I found a piece of technology that is not the cure. That's something that we found that we want to take away so that it doesn't make things worse. Because that's true. It could potentially make things worse, and we don't want that.
So do you just plan to talk to Edalole and the village before anybody else? You just want to walk on in and call a town meeting?
We could do that. We could also, we could still like sneak in and get some rest for the night and then call a town meeting first thing in the morning.
Hillian, any thoughts?
I feel like we need to talk to Daksym's parents. We did speak directly with them, and if we aren't going to be able to help them, I think they need to know.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That sounds like a good idea. We'll go under the cover of nightfall for there and decide what to do after that. Maybe they'll have some insights as well. I would strongly suggest, though, that we don't tell anybody about what it can do, because as we all know, it needs a human conduit, and we are the only 3 humans in the village.
Yeah. I think if anything, we should just say that it would make it worse, because right now, as far as we know, it would.
And honestly, if we do bring this Numenera back to the piece, they may have some way of either reverting the effects using that Numenera device, or they may have somebody willing to come back and help convert them to what they once were. The priesthood is very devout. They may have someone. So I think that's up to them. I think we bring this device back to the priesthood and go from there.
Okay. So y'all find a place to sort of rest and hide until it gets dark. What do you remember about your last interaction with Daksym's parents?
I remember that Edalole was very controlling of the conversation, but I remember as far as the parents go that we mostly talked with, I have the names here, Tyrol, and that I don't remember their gender. So they were very, very remorseful about what happened, but they also, I feel like all the parents felt like it was their fault still, like they actually did blame themselves. And so while they were still mournful, they were kind of beat up and done. That's what I remember.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just remember them all being sad and upset.
Didn't they see us off? Or at least one of them?
You did speak to, I believe it was Brahi before you left. There was a point where someone mentioned that they might be able to bring Daksym back. They weren't sure if they were dead, and there was a lot of hope there. So that's a thing. But otherwise, I think you have everything right. It was Initsuka who you spoke to, and they gave you most of the information about where everything happened. They had the little shrine that they mostly cared for. Brahi was the person that Daksym's friend was speaking to. Turl and Demilla both were just kind of, I think Demilla was the one who, when somebody mentioned that, their son may not be, where Daksym may not be dead, but just somewhere else, was the one who got the most excited. Cool. Okay. So you rest, and your plan is to sneak in and talk to the parents. Are you doing anything while you rest? Are you looking at the Numenera pieces, seeing if you can dismantle or change them? Are you just kind of sitting there glaring at each other? Is Hillian looking for eggs? What's happening?
I think Railu, as I imagine us sitting around either some sort of campsite. I don't know if there's a fire or not, because I feel like that attract attention, but some sort of campsite. Railu would look across Tiyune and go, all right, you're the one here that's really with the order. What do you think our best approach is here? They say that they want us to convert this village, but we can't really help them. What do you think the bosses would want?
Again, because I know we've had this conversation before, none of us are really with the order. So I have no idea.
I thought you might know them better than I would, at least.
Nope. I got sent there by my mentor. I only know that much.
Well, I honestly, at the end of the day, as long as we get out of here without them trying to kill us, I'd say that we finish up here and then we continue on towards that town that we found that battery in the direction of. It seemed like something was pointing us there, quite literally.
I was told that, sometimes the best way to, make people understand is to kind of rip off that bandage. Sometimes you have to break a bone to heal it.
That sounds like good advice. I think that's what we should do to Daksym's parents, because I feel like if anyone deserves the truth, it's them. And then,
but then, if our goal is to convert the village, we may need to also face the village.
I think we'll talk to the village tomorrow, and I think we'll do exactly what Tiyune said. And tell them that we found something that we're going to bring back, or we found information that we're going to bring back to the priests, and they may be able to develop with their knowledge something, and tell them that the priesthood will hopefully check in with them. Is that something we want to bring up? We're kind of the delegates from the priesthood, but the priesthood may be able to find something, a solution. We don't know.
I don't know what we can promise.
Yeah, I don't think we can make any promises. I think we just have to say we found something that would make it worse, not better. And since that's all we could find, along with some information that we don't know what to do with, we're taking all of that back to the priesthood, and that's it. And I think with part of that, I should stay out of the meeting. Railu, you should give this information, because we don't know how they'll react to the information that we even have a piece of Numenera. So I think I should keep the Numenera out of the meeting.
All right, but if things turn south, you can't blame me if you're not going to be there.
I mean, I would have blamed you regardless, so...
And then Railu will just throw a pebble in their direction and be like, sounds like you.
I also don't think we should go to that town where the convergence is.
Why not? It sounded like something wanted us to go in that direction, and where are we going to go after this? We have to get back to the priesthood somehow.
Yeah, why would we go to the town where the opposite of the priesthood is to get back to the priesthood? The convergence's whole point is they're like the opposite of the Eon priesthood.
But it's a big town. I mean, I'm sure that the priesthood is there too, because we have to find some way to get back to, we have to find a way to call our ride. I don't want to wait in town, especially after tomorrow, just for old what's-his-face to show up. He never even lets down the ladder for us to go. We have to climb up the leg every time.
I mean, we can travel and try to find another town that has a way to get a message back to the priesthood, but I don't feel comfortable going somewhere that we know the convergence has a presence, especially if we're traveling as envoys of the priesthood. That just seems like a bad idea.
Real quick, Ephraimon is the biggest city that is close to y'all, and if you recall, it took about 3 months for the village to get the message off, and Pell to get you there. It was a total of 5 months travel time that the village has been stuck like that. If you're planning on just waiting, you could be waiting in this village for a very long time.
Oh, Tiyune is definitely not planning on waiting here. She just doesn't want to go to the city where she knows the convergence has a presence.
Okay.
There's got to be other places around too.
We'll talk about it afterward. I feel like it's such a big city, and honestly, the convergence and the priesthood are cut of the same cloth. That one just is obvious about their type of power, and one likes to hide it in politics. But we'll figure out what we do after today. If we're welcome in the village, perhaps we stay. If we're not, perhaps we don't.
I don't think we should plan to stay in this village regardless. I think we should give the news and leave, especially as long as I have this piece of Numenera, which I would like to take apart so that someone can't just use it. But I also don't want to touch it, so...
We should give it back to the priesthood. I mean, that is what we're here for.
Whatever we do, we have to travel with this piece of Numenera, because there's no way for anyone from the priesthood to get it right now.
If you want me to, I can try to take it apart.
I would not like that.
Do it.
Thank you for the offer.
Oh, please. How fun would that be?
But more seriously, do you want me to be with you during the speech, just in case, I always like listening to you talk, but I don't know. Maybe I should go protect Tiyune. I don't know. Where should I go?
I think you might want to come with me, because if I have to fight my way out, you're always great to have by my side, and that way I can protect you as well. Whereas I feel like Tiyune has there, and Railu just like little sparky hand things. It's like can protect themselves.
I would like Railu and Tiyune to give me a int check about Numenera.
If it's about Numenera, I'm taking out. Yeah, it's not good. All right, I'm gonna try to boost this, so I'm gonna use some effort, and then I already have. That's just gonna cancel out my inability in Numenera. So
cool.
It's a straight roll here. Oh, nat 20.
Oh, that's nice. That's real nice. You do know that while you've built this piece of Numenera, separating it into its component parts does subject you to the situation of having too many parts or Numenera together that could cause damage to everyone around you. There's a thing about how many you can carry at one time that are discrete parts. So I'm allowing this one piece as an integrated whole. Railu knows a bit about explosions where Numenera is concerned at this point, and might have some experience in regard to separated Numenera, and perhaps a bit of a phobia of that. Who knows?
Yeah, Tiyune's definitely not going to try to take this apart because she knows that she can't touch it without something happening, and is not willing to try to like mess with it. Like she knows what the component parts do, but she's not interested in trying to break it into those component parts.
All right. So if you all are not investigating any of the stuff you have, then we will just wait, and y'all can head on into let me know when you're going to head into the village and where you plan to go first.
Well, if I remember correctly, their hut was on the edge of the village. Mm-hmm. And since, if I also remember, there's not much but except for pure empty space between us and the village after you get out of the tree line.
Yep.
And so we wait till it's pretty dark, and then just, I don't know, sneak across just hunch over real low and walk really fast. I don't know. There's no really way to sneak across empty space.
No, but are you heading right to the house you stayed in? Are you heading to the parents' house at night in the dark? Where are you going? Where are you heading first? Just tell me, and that's where we'll go.
Daksym's parents' house, and everyone sound good? Let's do it. Daksym's parents' house.
Cool. You make it to Daksym's parents' house. Give me one of you choose who's going to make the roll and make a stealth roll. Don't care who, unless you all want to, in which case, go for it.
I feel like it should probably be me. I have the careful movement.
Go for it.
That's fine.
Yeah, you guys cool with that? Okay. Oh, that was almost a 1. 7 plus my whatever.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You make it to Daksym's parents' house, and you knock on the door, and it's pretty late because the moon's pretty bright. Took you a while. Knock on the door again, and finally you hear someone, moving around. Someone saying, "Just a minute," and then the door opens, and it is Inetsuka. And they look at you very bleary-eyed, and as soon as they see you, they start to wake up a little bit, and they rub their eyes, and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, oh yeah."
And Inetsuka,
yeah.
I apologize for coming so late at night, but we have information that we wanted to come directly to you all with. May we please come in? I know it's late, but we have a lot to share.
Yes, of course, come in. I will get everyone up. And they go about waking up their partners and let you get seated at the table. Everyone comes in, and Damila and Brahi immediately start making, some sort of beverage and, something just a little nosh for you all just to make you welcome. And they sit down and they're just like, what can you tell us?
Real quick, is Tiyune with us?
No, Tiyune stayed outside.
Okay, I didn't know if you were avoiding Daksym's parents as well as the whole. Okay, so everybody.
Yeah, basically anytime we're sharing news of what happened and like anytime we're around other people, I'm like Tiyune's not willing to be in the same room with this very powerful piece of Numenera that they cannot control.
Gotcha. Okay, that was good to know.
Tiyune stayed outside.
Okay.
So we just got back. We went into Daksym's hunting spot or gathering ground, and we spent a lot of time looking around and investigating. We found a stash of Numenera, but everything that we found, it would make things worse. We didn't find anything that we thought would help, but we did find information, and so our plan is to take it back to the priesthood, and our hope is that with that information, they will be able to help. We just thought that we should come straight to you first. You all have been through so much. Unfortunately, from what we found, it looks like this was old tech from old beings that were here, and from what we found, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to bring Daksym back. It looks like, and Railu pauses and just goes, it looks like Daksym is gone, dead. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, and we thought we would be able to find something to bring it back, and I'm sorry, but we do have hope that maybe we will be able to bring this information to the priests, and it will help. We did everything we could, and they'll just pause and like have their arms open.
Brahi and Damila both just break down and leave the room. They had resigned themselves until it was brought up that they could possibly get Daksym back. And then to lose that hope again is, well, they are devastated. Their scales they did like a quick flutter and then just pressed really tight, and both of them slumped over and just fled. So you're left with Turl and Initsuka, who are just sort of sitting there stunned. Initsuka seems to be the one best able to pull themselves together, and they look around and they're like, where is your companion?
She's outside. She's tending to the details of us leaving.
With who?
Us.
With the priesthood. Tiyune is arranging our departure.
Okay. Well, just tell me what you found. Just tell me, what was Daksym doing? What were they thinking?
Daksym found a stash of very imagine a what would they have in this world? Like libraries? Where would you gather information in this world? Because I know like data bank won't be a thing that they understand.
I think information like you're talking about is pretty much at these societies like the Aeon priests and what have you. Is like you would go to them for that knowledge, because that's where it's all stored, is these societies that pull it together. Like there are different night orders and what have you that you could talk to.
Okay. Imagine a giant collection of knowledge. This knowledge was stored in a device, and this device was long lost from another. Imagine a device that stores a wealth of information similar to what you would expect from the priesthood on a long dead civilization that looks exactly like y'all. It's an ancient being. Well, Daksym found this, and it led him to that device that he brought back. As to what he thought it would do, we didn't find any information to that, but we're hoping that this information, we weren't able to get to all of it. We were hoping if we bring it back to the priesthood, they'll be able to decipher it and come and help. We can't promise anything. We don't know, but we're hoping that with this information, the priesthood can do something. But as to what Daksym was thinking, I don't know. Perhaps he thought it would be helpful to the village. Perhaps he thought that it would bring great wealth. I don't know. But he was, I'm sure, just trying to help. This tech that he brought was fantastical and otherworldly, literally. That's what we have.
As you're saying all of this, they're looking at their scales and the fluttering, and they're just like, I don't understand. Daksym knew better than to deal with Numenera. That is, I mean, if you look around our village, we have no Numenera here. That is just, it is not safe, and we all know that. And Daksym just knew better. I don't understand. So you're telling me Daksym found some long buried Numenera and then just decided to bring it home?
Railu will kind of do the palms up, like shrug, and say, "From what we've gathered, yes." I'm not saying that Daksym didn't have it for a while. I don't know how long what Daksym did to the piece. It's possible maybe they found it a while ago and they've been experimenting with it and didn't think it was dangerous. I don't know. All we found was the information that we found.
Part of me, I don't mean to butt in, but you said that Daksym wouldn't just do something like this. Have y'all had any visitors to your village before this happened?
Initsuka and Turl seem a little surprised by the question, actually, and they're, I haven't thought of anything since before this happened in so long. They're thinking, and they're like, we have had traders come through. We have traders come through every quarter or so, but
maybe this isn't, one of the traders. Maybe this would be somebody else. I don't think they would be usual if they were dealing in Numenera.
There were, on that last caravan, there were 3 people who, they seemed like they were traveling with the caravan, but they didn't act like caravanners, they weren't super social. They didn't seem to be interested in anything other than getting something to eat and drink, and then nothing. And they were a little odd, but I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. But normally all we've had are caravanners who come through here, and so yeah, most of them come on these trade routes all the time. So it was interesting to see strangers, but they just kind of kept to themselves, and they were actually a little rude. I do remember that. And Turl's like, yeah, I remember Edalale trying to talk to one of them about trying to get some news out of them or something, and it was the woman. She just snapped at him for something. I don't remember. And then he just kind of deflates, and he's just like, but I am really disappointed in your news. I really thought that you all would be able to do just more. What was that explosion we heard earlier? Do you know? It seems like y'all showing up after this explosion, it seems like you would. It's a little weird that if you don't know. What was that explosion?
Complete coincidence.
That's actually the reason that we left. When we were in Daksym's space, which, by the way, I don't know if you want to go there, but we could always help you. His friend, Williana, is the one that led us there. But anyway, when we were in Daksym's space, we heard that explosion, and suddenly the forest was alight. We had to hide from many a Draskar and running around. We had to get out of there. It was just simply too dangerous. The Draskar alone were running rampant, yet alone whatever else could live in that forest.
Hillian is going to emotionally support or console these people in their loss.
Yeah.
I know you all had a lot of hope, and I feel like we failed you. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. Okay. So a 9 doesn't really meet the standards of assisting. Your emotional support basically makes it a 12.
Yep.
Yeah, not quite enough. I do want you to roll an int check for your complete coincidence statement to see if they believe that. Ooh, a 14. Okay. Sure, that's good enough.
If you want to justify it, you could boost it with my explanation of it too.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, sure. I don't think they completely buy it, but they buy it enough to just say, to allow them
To leave it alone.
just deal with their grief. Is there anything else that we need to know?
We just came to you first because we felt that it was most important that you knew the news before we told the rest of the village. You have been most affected, no matter what the village tells you. We feel as though you have been the most affected, and we wanted to take the time to answer your questions because we know the minute we tell the village this, we may not be welcome here. I know that we haven't done what we said we would do. We were much more hopeful, and that is our fault. The priesthood sent us here to solve the issue, and that was what we planned to do. With the information that we have, we don't know, but we don't want to make any more promises that we can't keep. If you have any more questions, we'd love to answer them. That's why we came to you personally, but I'm assuming after the town meeting tomorrow, we're probably gone.
Were there any other Numenera where this other one was found? Do we need to worry?
Not that we saw, unless there was another stash somewhere, which I don't think there was from what we've found. Williana has some sort of wire that we weren't able to find any connection to, that she said that Daksym did give her, but it doesn't seem to be Numenera. We checked it out. We talked to her. It's just something that was found, I suppose. But as far as Numenera goes, we didn't find anything besides the information storage.
Yeah, go ahead and roll deception on that.
Okay, so I'm trained in all tasks or in all social interactions. I don't know if I can get an asset for the groundwork I've laid, but I figured it doesn't hurt to try to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna definitely spend some effort on this, even though I'm definitely gonna need it tomorrow a little bit more.
Okay.
Oh, nice. So that's like over 20 something.
Yeah. They totally buy it. They're like, okay. And there's no more danger of Numenera coming out of that area.
No, I think that we have completely scoured the area. I think that it is completely safe. I think the kids should be safe there. If you'd like, we can bring you to Daksym's area. It's up to you.
Okay.
Hillian's eyes are huge and has, a little bit of wetness on the underside, and he says again, I can't imagine all of these feelings you must be having right now. And again, I cannot express how much sympathy I have.
Both Turl and Initsuka seem grateful to you, and as they're saying goodnight, they both, touch you on your shoulder and say that we appreciate your kindness. And they look at Railu and they're like, thank you for coming to us directly. I think we may skip the town meeting tomorrow and just stay home.
You deserve all the time that you need. If there is anything we can do to help before we leave, please let us know. We are truly sorry. We had higher hopes, and I know you did too, and we apologize for that. But if ever comes a time that there's something that we can do for you, if you can find a way to reach us, I know at least I will be there. Please let us know.
Agreed.
And they thank you and basically push you out the door. They're done. They're like, this is a lot more than they really...
More tea?
Yeah. The hosts have left. You are with the, make it happen folks, and they are ready to not have you in their house. They are emotionally exhausted by just this few-minute conversation. And you've been gone about 4 days by their time. When you all passed out, you didn't pass out for just a day. You were exhausted. And so, yeah, they did not expect you back today, although the explosion, they may not expect you back ever. All right, you're all outside the house. What you doing?
Did they tell us it had been 4 days, or is that something we don't know?
Didn't tell you.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Hillian's thing might tell you. The little timer eggy thingy.
I don't think I know it tells time. I think it's just a hooker.
I do think that both you and Tiyune have know that my egg thing also tracks my cycle.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just Tiyune.
Oh, maybe it is just Tiyune.
Oh, I don't remember. It might be.
Well, regardless, I think that we go back to our little hut. I mean, we're gonna go get Tiyune, so we go to wherever Tiyune is.
I mean, she was just right outside.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Wait, were you just like standing on the side of the house?
Basically, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, so I would say that that we go and we get you, and then we just go back to our little hut.
Sure.
Stealthily.
Yeah,
Sneaky.
go ahead and roll stealth.
Sneaky.
1. That's a 16, 5, and 17. Yeah, you make it back to the hut just fine. You get into the hut and close the door, and you are safe for now. What are you doing? Just going to bed? Locking stuff up? Hiding the Numenera? What are you doing?
Well, so I'm gonna talk to I'm gonna talk to Tiyune and say, all right, so what's done is done, but I think we ran into a couple issues with as far as them seeing that you're gone. We just told them that you were off communicating as to how we were communicating with the priest as to how we're gonna leave, but Adalole is not gonna believe that. How do we explain your absence in the meeting tomorrow?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I don't see why we should need to. Maybe just say that I'm still like back in the clearing doing research, or that I've started the journey to the next town and will meet you, that you stayed behind to have a conversation. And I can wait for you like outside of town.
That sounds like a good plan.
And mostly it would be the truth.
Yeah. That way, if I like started to head out of town before dawn, so no one saw me, and then just found a place to wait for you, and then just say like I started early on the journey to the next town, so that we could try to get this information back to the Eon Priest to help them.
That sounds like a good plan. I told Daksym's parents, because you were sharing that we have information. I told them that we found basically a data storage device, and that's all that we found. Of course, we know what we know, but I am concerned that if I tell them that we found a data storage device in that area, that they will go there. And we're sure that everything's fine, right? Like that's a safe area to go to now for them. They won't cause any more trouble.
Definitely not sure of that. What? We're not sure of anything.
Well, they might go there anyways, so that is what it is. I was just wanted to let you know.
I mean, I would suggest either not revealing that we found that, or saying that we found pieces of it, that it had been destroyed, or like if you have to tell them that we found something, try to present it in a way that suggests it was either completely destroyed or that it was mostly destroyed, and we definitely found everything that there was to find, because it would be bad if they went and searched that area.
Well, they definitely, as far as Daksym's parents go, they definitely know that I told them that the only thing we found was that, but I had to tell them that we got the information from somewhere. They weren't going to believe I got it from the ground, and I wasn't going to tell them where we actually found it. So that felt like the most believable way to say it, because if we're going to tell them we have information, then we have to have gotten it somehow. So as far as my last concern is that I don't think Adalole is going to be as easily convinced that we spent however much time we spent just searching the small opening that we did. So any thoughts on what we should tell him? Daksym's parents believed it, but Adalole is a lot more aggressive.
Conniving?
Yes, that's the word.
I would say skeptical, but whatever.
I mean, it's hard to say. We don't know exactly how the territories work here. So, I mean, it's possible we could say that Daksym found it in someone else's territory, or that we ventured like very, very deep into the territory. I mean, I don't have an answer for that. All we can really do is present the information that we know how to present, and say that we don't have any other information.
Something is troubling me, though. Daksym's parents were very sure that Daksym wouldn't have touched Numenera. And they said that they think they saw some people who were very not like the regular traders come in through their village recently. Well, before Daksym found the Numenera.
Interesting. Well, that might be worth investigating.
I don't know how much we can do with it. It's been 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned 3 strangers, and I'll look at Hillian just to confirm that.
Something like,
And they said that they were particularly crass, and that there was a woman specifically is the one that they remembered. A woman that when they tried to talk to her was significantly aggressive towards Edalole. It sounded like they never get strangers along this path, and these three were. And along with what we found once we left, I think that they may have something to do with this, and I think that they may be at least intertwined somehow. They, like Hillian said, they were very sure that Daksym wouldn't do something like this, so something must have caused it.
Maybe we should talk with Edalole.
I think the danger in being direct with Edalole about this is that they will just blame these traders. Like, they're looking for someone to blame. They want results, and they want someone to blame. So I agree that it's worth speaking with Edalole about this. I think you have to be very careful about how you approach this conversation, and you can't tell them that you're looking for information on this person because you think they're involved with it, because that might encourage them to just... I mean, how often do traders come through? Have there been traders since this happened?
That's a good question.
They said that traders come through often enough. They said that the traders weren't any different than the normal ones. So they made it sound like they knew the traders. They just said that these companions were traveling with them, and that it's incredibly unusual. They said that they recognize all the faces, and these few they didn't. So it definitely stood out in their mind, even amongst their grief. So it was a significant thing to have strangers coming.
Maybe what we need to do then is just get information about the group of traders and go try to track them down and speak with them, especially because, this place is so far from anything else. The strangers would have had to travel with that trading group for, at least several days. So maybe if we can just track down that trading group, they can give us information on the strangers that were with them without potentially putting someone who might not be at fault in the path of Edalole's, suspicion, wrath, nonsense.
Maybe we just say that the priesthood is tracking this because, well, we're tracking it.
I would say get whatever information you can, however you can. But my plan is to not interact with anyone else and to just, as I said, leave before dawn, get out of town and find a spot that we can meet at.
I'd say perhaps we should meet at the tree line.
I'd like to get farther out of town than that. Like, I want to be far enough that people won't happen upon me. I have this very, very dangerous piece of Numenera, and I want to get far enough out of town that, if you say, like, oh, Tiyune started leaving and they decide that they need to see me, they can't just, run out to their usual paths and find me.
The only place we know that's near here is Ephraimon. It's not like we have a map or anything. The priesthood told us that we either wait for them to return or we find a way back. So is that where you want to head? It sounded like you didn't want to be anywhere near the convergence, but I don't know what else is around here.
I wasn't saying that I have to go somewhere in particular. I just meant, I start walking and then keep walking until nightfall, and then you meet up with me then. Just, pick a direction and, go that way.
What if we head out past the Anines? That's how we came in.
My concern is that we're going to be walking in empty space for forever. None of us really know how far the beyond goes. I don't want to just start heading in a direction.
Yeah, that's fine then. I'll head toward Ephraimon and we'll figure it out from there. I'm not saying that I'll go all the way there. I'm just saying that I'll start walking before dawn and keep walking for several hours and then find somewhere to wait for you to catch up with me. I don't want to be easy access to any of the villagers.
I definitely agree that that's a good idea. I'm going to say this now. I don't know how I can ask the question about the visitors and then immediately follow it up with all of our news and not cast suspicion on them. If we were to have more time, perhaps. But since we're going to call a town meeting tomorrow, I don't see how I can avoid that. If we want the information, I think that's just a pitfall that we have. I'm not afraid of Edalole. I don't think he has any power outside of this village. I might just ask about the strangers instead of the actual caravan itself, so that way the caravan doesn't suffer for our indiscretion.
I agree that Edalole probably doesn't have power outside of this village. My worry is that if the traders come back to this village, Edalole will rile up the villagers to attack them. I think something that you could try to do is just say that we want to make sure that this actually is as contained as it seems to be, and say, ask, have there been any other people in contact with the town? If so, can we get their information so that we can find them?
That sounds like a plan, and it sounds like the best way we can go about it. So I will call the town meeting tomorrow, and we will meet you in the direction of Ephraimon then. And whenever you head out, just make sure that you stay safe, and we'll meet up with you. Question. So I know that Tiyune is really aware of Hillian's cycle and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any notes that I am, but that's like probably going to be relevant eventually.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't think that I know is the problem. I just know I have in my notes, Railu knows that Hillian needs to eat meat during a transformation or he'll be very sad. So
if I look at the egg tracker, you said that I can read the cycle.
Kenny, you know what you're...
I think so. Let me check the notes on the egg tracker if I have any.
Well, what are your connections to people?
Mine is that I can soothe Hillian when they're in beast form.
Mm-hmm.
Hillian in beast form will never attack Tiyune, and I can calm them to revert them to their normal form without having to make a roll.
Mm-hmm.
And that I know they need to kill and eat a medium or larger creature when in beast form.
And what is
the other thing is doesn't apply yet.
And what is your connection to Railu?
For me to Railu, it's I'm overly affected by Railu's words.
Mm-hmm. And the other way?
It's knowing that they need to eat something in beast form.
That's it?
Yep.
Yeah, but I could have swore that one of us knew. Or I guess I'm wrong. But...
Well, I think that Tiyune, the connection that Tiyune can soothe Hillian means that she knows that Hillian
when it's coming
does transform.
Okay. So yeah, Railu will side eye you and be like, I don't like being away from you overnight, so I think that we need to just make sure that we meet up with you before nightfall.
Okay, so can I check the egg tracker to see if I can tell the cycle?
Sure. Kenny, what's the cycle?
So how many days did I have? It was 5 days?
Mm-hmm.
And that was when we left the tree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, it should indicate that including today, there's 5 more nights.
Okay. All right, so yeah. Tiyune, we'll just let Railu know. I think we have a few days before we really have to worry, so don't get stuck in this town and everything will be fine.
Oh, we will find you tomorrow. I'm not staying another night in this town. And then I think if there's anything else, I think we're seen.
Okay. Yeah, splitting the party is one of my favorite things ever. Cool. This is super exciting. Not quite what I had in mind, but you might notice I'm a little excited. Cool.
If it helps, Tiyune's plan is to stay out of trouble as much as possible and just to travel as stealthily as possible, find a place to hide until they meet up with her. Tiyune's not trying to go on an adventure.
Yeah. Good luck. Cool.
Trying was the key word.
That's fair.
I mean, do you have a map? No? Cool.
No, none of us do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole idea, though, is that, if there are traders that pass through here, there must be some sort of, path, and that's what would follow.
Okay. Cool.
And that's all that we have time for today. Thank you so much for listening to us and talk a lot. This has been a recording of Qmenera, and let's sign off, starting with our director, Kelric.
I'm Kelric. You can find me on Twitter at Cormelon or at EQ Points.
I'm Jess. You can find me on Twitter at WriteJessR, or you can find all my social media and all the other podcasts I do on my website, writejess.com, WRITEJESS.com.
I'm Aaron. You can find me at Space Persona on Twitter.
And I'm Kenny. You can find me on Twitter at PunderDrone. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. Are your ears burning for another podcast? We cannot recommend enough checking out our sister podcast, Roll to Fail. There are 6 friends who have no business behind the mic, or even rolling dice. If you like what we create, then you should check out our other 2 podcasts on our network. The original Experience Points podcast is a Starfinder game that releases every Wednesday. If you are new to the pod, it's an almost year-long homebrewed adventure DM'd by Miyu, whom you can find on Twitter at MiuPlaysGames. The story follows an unlikely crew brought together by fate. They forge their path through the Pact Worlds and beyond, leaving the chaos of shenanigans in their wake. Want to find out what happens in the final stream of Pun Time Slasher? I have good news for you. Streaming was delayed to this coming Monday, April 29th. Don't worry if you aren't able to join us live. You can watch the session on demand on the Experience Points Twitch. Coming on April 30th, this campaign will be released as a monthly podcast. Stay up to date on all 3 Experience Points Network podcasts at EQ Points on Twitter and on experiencepoints.com. Pardon our dust as I continue updates on the website. Thank you so much for listening.